Alright boys, how's all done?
Marvellous.
Good.
Brilliant.
Another quiet and uneventful week in the world of Heart of Midlothian Football Club, innit?
Sort
Right.
of. Aye.
Well, the world's a strange place now. We never thought, well, at least we'll know now when we've got like that moment in time in it. Where were you when you heard the Queen died? I was watching Hearts get fucking pummeled by some team for Turkey.
Aye.
There you go, you'll never forget that. And it was the day before my birthday, so I'll always, whenever that comes up, when did the Queen die? About 8th of September. Easy. Give me those points in the pub quiz. Ah, there we go. Where do we even start? There's so much to talk about for Thursday. We've got no football this weekend domestically. Good or a bad thing, we'll dive into that. Then we can obviously talk about the good stuff to look forward to. Loosely. We're going to Riga. Probably watch Hearts get pumped after some team for Latvia. Wonder if any more members of the royal family will die and we'll have more points to earn on pub quizzes. Aye, it's been eventful, hasn't it?
Certainly has.
Aye, but
And that's with no football
it's-
over the weekend too,
Aye.
which makes it even more mental.
Aye, I'm actually quite glad that the game is cancelled on Sunday because I'm still raging for last week. I can only think just how bad I would be on this if we'd been beaten today. It'd be absolutely tragic. I'd be kicked off, and that'd be it.
Aye. Shanks, you've just kept the club afloat with your £500 gift voucher that you got. What did you purchase? Is this a purchase that you're wearing?
This is a purchase. I've bought 17 pairs of Hearts ball bag boxers.
Aye.
And that will just get me through the first half in Riga. So aye.
You bought all the Ando stickers and I think there's still ones for like Sean Clare and all that, and there's pure most random
Aye, I
things.
got a 50p Uchi postcard.
That's
It's
it.
on the fridge.
Postcards.
I can see it.
Aye.
You're like, come on, surely when did you just throw them in the bin, man? Who's buying them? Speaking of wee knobs that buy shit out of shops, Tam, what's been happening?
That's-
Never
I'll
fails,
take
man.
that. Usually get called being tight, so that's fine. I
Aye.
don't actually buy anything.
Aye,
so that's
50p stickers that are 4 years out of date.
good. That's a good bargain, that though.
Aye.
I'm all right. I recovered from my illness. Well, not really. I'm still ill, but we move on.
Well, at least you got to play Glastonbury on Thursday and missed the Hearts game in it. Oh no,
Yeah.
no, you played at the back of Chippy and Bathgate, didn't you? But anyway, let's
It's
move
actually
on.
a Chinese, but it's
Oh,
actually a
aye,
Chinese.
sorry,
yeah,
it's moved and it changed hands. I forgot about that. But we'll talk about your big break in music later. Kev, what's been happening?
Not a great deal, mate. Not a great deal. Another quiet weekend. We'll do it football.
Nah, good. Right, Ando, what's been happening?
Nothing. Disaster on Thursday, as we all know. I'm still in the third world of broadband, having to operate this shit from a fucking mobile phone because a certain company that I can't mention can't sort the shit out and get my broadband installed. But we'll gloss over that and move on.
We will indeed. Well, welcome back to This Is My Story, your unofficial Hearts podcast. As we say every week, all our opinions are our own and always miles off it. We'll have Ando's got a Tamdown for us. Kev's got 4 and 1. We'll go through headlines for the week. We'll talk about obviously the postponement due to the death of Queen Elizabeth and what it means in terms of Hearts, because obviously we've now got a bit of a well-needed break, in my opinion. Halkett hopefully coming back. We'll talk about some of the things he said in the press. We've signed Robert Snodgrass as a free agent. We'll talk about Riga tickets as well, because that whole thing was a bit shambles in terms of what's happened. I think we've got about 57 tickets for the game now. Like we'll get half the home end, half the away end, just to make sure that me and Shanks and Kev got tickets. We'll have.
When we get flung out the away end, we'll just
go
home.
home. We'll go to the home end. Exactly. We'll review the game from Thursday. We'll preview obviously this Thursday's game against Riga. And we'll talk a bit of shite in between. Sound good, boys?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Oh, good.
Well, sadly, a bit of theme coming about with Hearts in the last week or whatever. Obviously, with news breaking of people dying, etc. Whether your thoughts on them or whatever they may be, it's still no nice to hear that. Obviously, tonight when we record this, we get the news from Hearts that Chris Robinson, former owner of the football club has passed away. So it's never nice to hear anybody losing their life. So thoughts and that go to his friends and family. Hopefully they're all right at this difficult time. I'm sure you boys echo the same.
Absolutely.
Aye.
Yeah, definitely.
Politics aside, it's just one of these. It's as you say, it's never nice when somebody dies, but that is what it is.
Exactly. And again, we'll not dive into the politics of what was Thursday, but have you ever experienced a more shambolic or chaotic 3 minutes at football than the halftime break on Thursday?
I've still got anxiety.
No, I don't think so. It's it was one of the ones that you'll be able to chat about that for years. Whether you want to or not is a different story. But no, absolute lunacy. It's just mental.
It was bananas. To put it in it, like for the outside looking in, it just looks like we're Raggies and we've disrupted a minute of silence or whatever. But so much stuff on the night was just. I've never been so bewildered in my life at football because one, you know what it's like at Tynecastle, you kind of get a signal. So I had no idea if it was true or not. Just Gadgies coming up for having a fag on the Queen's Deed and everyone going, all right, no bother. And then the same with Gadgies saying, we're doing a minute silence. And I'm like, what? And then the players coming out, standing at the touchline. We were making substitutions during the minute silence. Craig Gordon was back in his goals. I was like, what's going on? What is actually happening here? It was absolutely bananas. But Ando said there, anything that we do when football does resume, like it takes absolutely nothing to be silent for 60 seconds or whatever. Do you know what I mean? The club's reputation's in the mud, whether you agree with the politics behind it or no. The world's watching. They're waiting for anybody to do anything or step out of line. And we made a dick of ourselves on Thursday. If we get the opportunity to rectify it, didn't make a dick of ourselves again. Yeah, there's your chat for Corbett.
We make a dick of ourselves on the park enough as it is. Let's try and not do it.
Aye.
Let's not try and do it in the stands.
Aye, I'm hoping that like we'd got in the years to come, we could look back and say, I know that was because the game got abandoned because of the minute silence. They just awarded them a 4-0 to punish us for being total dickheads. But sadly, that was not the case. Right, Shandon Thursdays. Obviously, for the guys that aren't going to Riga, we're going to try for the free home games for the away ones. We're going to try and pick a venue in and around Gorgie so that we can get some of the local businesses some much needed revenue on a day that you potentially wouldn't have anybody in. So we obviously had Zurich. We went to the Murrayfield and it was amazing, and the Murrayfield were great, so thanks a lot to them. This week on Thursday we're going to go to the Shandon. Again, we've already spoke to the owners of the Shandon who have assured us that all the things that we needed to learn from what happened on Thursday at the Murrayfield should be put right for this Thursday here. So big screens, extra bar staff, beer bars, etc. for buying bottles and stuff like that. So if you can't make Riga and you want to come down to Gorgie and watch the Hearts game with Hearts fans, get a bit of atmosphere, get a bit of singing, etc., etc., we'll see you all in the Shandon on Thursday.
Yeah, we'll even get signed postcards of Tam that you can buy 10p a shot if you're so inclined.
10p, fuck off.
10p.
The worst
Hey,
part.
you've got quite a following, Tam. We'll make millions.
We in terms of Riga, obviously Kev, Shanks, we need to try and find somewhere where we can congregate on the Thursday. So anybody that's listening that's got to Riga and knows of the place to be, get in contact with us so we can come and ruin your night.
It's actually a Shandon in Riga.
If there's a Shandon in Riga, that'll be class. Let's get to it.
There's also a why not.
Super duper. If there's a Grand Central or a Club Earth, man, I'm not coming home. Right, before we start depressing ourselves about what was last Thursday, let's have the Tamdown with Ando. Ando, talk us through it.
Right, so you've all been listening long enough now. I'm going to pick a game from our history. The squad that were available on that match day. I'm going to go round the guys one at a time and we'll check them off. Highest points obviously wins. Simple as that. Now, I did struggle with this because I was thinking, right, we've had a few European nights recently, and I couldn't remember what ones we've done and what ones we haven't. So, looking forward, obviously it's likely that obviously the weekend after next against Motherwell will probably be cancelled as well. You would imagine. Who knows? But our next home game is going to be against Rangers, and I thought, right, what memorable results have we had against Rangers that Tam will probably struggle with? So I have picked from the 20th of January 1996, Rangers 0, Hearts 3. So hands on your heads. Now I'm going to need you to self-police in order to obviously maintain this call. I don't have any incoming video, so I can't see what you guys are up to. So hands on the heads at all times. I've got names in a hat, and I'll draw the names out randomly. For who goes first, oh, wouldn't you know, it's Corbett. Who was playing in the 3-0 victory over Rangers at Ibrox on the 20th of January 1996?
He's magic, you know. Well, we'll go for the most obvious one. We can go for Alan Johnson because he scored.
Correct. Correct, Ando.
Do we get extra points for telling you who played for Rangers? We'll do that last.
If there's if we're wanting to muscle flex and go down that way, then I'm all for it. I can easily get the list.
I'm sure it was like gone. These were the days before you had transfer windows, and I'm pretty sure they just spent like millions of pounds on like Eric Bo Anderson or Pierre Van Vossen, and it was his debut, and they got pumped.
Yeah, they were roughly fingered without any foreplay at all. It was an absolute joy to behold.
So Alan Johnson.
Alan Johnson is correct. Next out the hat is Kev.
Neil Poynton.
Disappointing. Yep, absolutely. Made the first 11. Shanks, you're next.
Dave McPherson.
Dave McPherson is absolutely correct. And obviously,
what a total guess.
Exactly. You could tell by the inflection in his voice, a complete stab in the dark, but well done, son. You got there. And then obviously, Tam, your name came out the hat last, mate. I don't know what to say. You're next.
That's a shame. I'll just go Robbo.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. Yeah, he was a used sub, so yeah, fine. Back to Corbett.
Should we go the obscure guys that I didn't think they'll have any idea ever played with Hearts, or should they just go the obvious ones and start knocking them off so that they've got name our points?
Well, it depends how sadistic you are. If you'd like to toy with Tam and Shanks, then I'm all for it. So whatever you think is best, mate.
I believe John Cohen played in that game.
Yes, he did. Correct. Over to Kev.
Paul Ritchie.
Paul Ritchie, absolutely correct. And over to Shanks.
Stevie Fulton. Stevie Fulton's dad.
Yep, Stevie Fulton is correct. He was in the starting 11. Over to Tam.
Try to find keeper, but I think it might be too early for Rusey. So I'm going to go Henry Smith.
That's a swing and a miss, mate. Back to Corbett.
Alan Lawrence.
Alan Lawrence is correct. And over to Kev.
Do it, Kev. Do it.
Gary Mackay.
Oh, Kev, no, that wasn't what I wanted you to do.
All right.
Yeah, Gary Mackay is correct. He was a used sub. Shanky.
I'm bored. 4 goals.
Sorry, what?
Thomas Flogel's there.
No, Thomas Flogel was not there. Tam.
I should really go Gio Rusey now. So I don't know. I'll just go with it, and I'll probably get 0 points again.
Okay, Gio Rusey is correct. He was
Okay.
6.
Mate,
I can't believe none of you took that.
He got nutmegged in the cup final, the 1996 cup final, when Brian Laudrup scored, or Gordon Jury scored a hat-trick or whoever it was.
I actually thought that was 97, so...
That's because I almost said something politically not correct there, so that was fine. Let's brush over it. I never said it.
Right, back to Corbett.
How many of the starting 11 do we still have to get?
You have 3 still to get, and then 1 substitute, because back in the day there was only you were only allowed 3 substitutes. So yeah.
Given our European opponents, I'm going to go down the route and say Pasquale Bruno.
Absolutely correct. And over to Kev.
Just trying to think. Gary Locke.
Correct. And over to Shanks.
Salvatore.
You get 1 first starter. Sorry, 1 in the starting 11, and then 1 unused sub. So think about it. There was only 3 subs allowed back in the day, and 2 of them were outfield players that have already been mentioned. So who was the sub goalie? There's a wee clue for you. Fucking hell, man. Right, never mind. Tam, over to you.
Hamilton.
Can I get a first name of that?
Jim.
Or a few Hamiltons play for us? No, absolutely not.
Oh.
Long before his time. Corbett.
I'm going to go left field just for the sake of it, because I'm trying to think of players that played in that top, because it was the pure pony strongbow maroon and then dark maroon stripe thing. I'm going to say Alan McManus.
Alan McManus is right, and that completes your starting 11. So over to Kev for the unused substitute.
Unused sub. And we know the position. I'm trying to think who.
Does Kev still have his hands on
He's
his head?
still got his hands in his head, don't worry.
I've not got mine.
So is it literally just the sub keeper? That's all we need.
Yeah.
Subkeeper, yeah, there was only 3 subs allowed back in the day, so you had to pick them in advance. So
Flipping Jesus Christ.
He
Wasn't
didn't
Craig
play for
Nelson?
Hearts, mate.
could have done with him on Thursday.
Aye, we could have, you're right.
What, Craig
Nah,
Nelson or Jesus
I
Christ?
can't think.
I think it's
Mate.
safe to say go back to Corbett because
Aye, Kev, you're out. Right, Corbett, you have just
tell you.
mentioned it. You just mentioned it a second ago.
It was
You got
Craig
it
Nelson,
absolutely-
wasn't it?
It was Craig Nelson.
oh,
correct.
see, guess that.
That's why I was
Said
saying
that.
I was like, the only other goalkeeper at that time was Craig Nelson. Like, come on.
To be fair,
So what you
Kev, you
said.
didn't actually commit to the answer. You said
didn't,
it
mate.
was
Unlucky.
Craig Nelson.
He didn't. If anyone wants to, this is my Rangers podcast, but I have got the Rangers team here. If anyone
Andy
wants
Gorham,
Correct.
Ian Ferguson.
Correct.
Was it Pierre Van Vossen or was it Eric Bo Anderson?
Peter Van Vossen was a used substitute.
John Brown in that team.
Richard Goff,
Correct.
David Robertson,
Aye.
Correct.
Charlie Miller,
Correct.
I'm just thinking of that Adidas
George
that Adidas swap.
Alberts.
George Alberts, no, he wasn't
No.
involved that day. No.
Right.
McCoist.
No.
Try to think who else would have been in that. Was the Loudrop been there?
Loudrup was in the 11, yep. Starting 11. as
Jury?
well. Yep.
Gaza?
No.
No,
Before Gaza.
Gaza. He must have came later. Right, how many more players have we got? Alec Cleland. Did I say that?
Alec
Good
Cleland,
shout.
you haven't, but you've got him now. There's 3 outfield players and 2 subs.
Alexei Mikhailichenko.
Correct. On the bench. Yep. You know what? I'm giving you 2 points for that because
Oleg
Alexei
Kuznetsov.
Mikhailichenko
Oh,
is a good
Ian
one.
Durant.
That's a good
Ian Durant, correct, Shanks, well done.
Yes, well done, mate. Right, how many more have we got? Outfield players still to get.
You have 2 outfield, 2 of the starting 11 still to get, and 1 sub.
Sub goalkeeper. Who would be sub goalkeeper at the time?
Chris Woods or something shit like that.
There was no
he was
sub
gone.
goalkeeper.
Or wasn't he
used.
sub keeper?
No, they never named one.
All right. I don't. Al McLaren.
Correct. It leaves you. He was in the starting 11, so you've got 1 outfield player.
What position did he play?
Well, he used to play for Hearts. That might help you.
David Hagan.
No,
He used to play for Hearts.
he did.
What position? Does that get away if you say what position?
Yeah, probably. He, yeah, it would.
Right, okay, so
there's
who played with Rangers? Dave McPherson, Al McLaren.
Stephen Presley, but that'd be way too young for
he
him.
was
I think.
like one of those guys that that came from the old firm that never done anything with us. A bit like Gordon Jury or Stefan Mahe.
Gordon Petric.
Gordon Petric, correct. Right, and then we've got one final player that hasn't been named yet, Mr. Rangers. He's a sub.
Mr. Rangers.
Is
Stuart McCall.
one of his relatives used to play for Hearts.
Barry Ferguson.
Correct. Right, that's it. That's you. So final scores on the doors. Reading from the bottom up: Tam with 2, Shanks with 3, Kev with 5, and Corbett with a massive 19. So that's that is.
We didn't all go to Ibrox every other week.
No, well,
Don't be better, Kev.
So that's pathetic, man. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'd like nearly double the rest of your score combined. So hats off to Corbett. It was never in doubt. Well done.
Right. Let's do one where I'm shite at it, Kev. Let's play 1.5.
You are actually, and it's surprising. It is surprising. So 4 clues to an ex or current Hearts player. Your first 4 clues for this week: football family, Venkies. We've spoken about that before in the past. Final game and painter. So that's your first 4, and your second 4 are African, injured, controversy, and drunk da.
Every Hearts player ever.
True. So that's your 4 clues for the second ex-Hearts player. Tam's
Shut
face
up,
is
Kev.
always fucking hilarious when you watch it.
I just didn't get it, Kev.
Nobody gets it.
You just opened the dictionary and just like fucking boom, page 1, page whatever, pulled it.
I'm wondering if Venkies are actually in the dictionary, mate. But thanks for that,
Aye.
buddy.
Tam, what would you find on page 1 of a dictionary?
The
No,
contents
it's
page.
not A, it's A. Never
The
mind.
fucking contents page. You absolute stupid wee roster. What the fuck are you on about?
Right,
Fucking brilliant.
let's move on. Right, headlines this week.
what?
We'll start with some positive stuff. Obviously, we've signed Robert Snodgrass as a free agent. Obviously, seasoned pro, comes with a bit of pedigree. My thinking for there is maybe steady the ship a little bit in terms of you know exactly what you'll get with him. If you look at, for example, a couple of our best players in the last wee while have been guys like Andy Halliday, who you know you're going to get 100% commitment from. He's going to 100% do what you ask him to do. He's going to give you everything he's got. He's never going to be massive bags of ability, but if you need him to stay in a position, track a man, give you everything, he's the man today. And it feels a bit like potentially where they've went with Snodgrass. We took a bit of a punt in terms of guys. The guy for Germany that we don't really know. The guy we've had Humphreys in on loan from Wigan, etc., etc. So feels a bit like they've maybe just went with a safe bet. Anybody disagree or?
I agree. I think he's got a lot of talent, to be fair, or had, but it's the question is if his legs are still there. We quite rightly slagged Hibs for signing
As long as he can beat the first man at a corner.
Aye. Sounds a bit like the beginning signing, to be honest with you, but we'll see.
Well, actually, what we need to sign is somebody that can defend a fucking corner, but we'll come on to that later, because we are a shambles at the back when it comes to corners right now. But no, you're right. It is one of those. It feels it's either going to be one of two ways, which is always the way with signings. He's either going to be brilliant or he's going to be utter shite. Hearts don't do in between. So, but bodies in is what we need. You can question whether or not it was worth it considering he can't play in Europe. But after what we've seen on Thursday, if anybody harboured any notions that we could maintain a fight on both fronts, I think they're well and truly slapped in the face. The focus has to be on the league. We have to finish third. So in that sense, that's a positive signing, isn't it?
I kind of don't mind the fact that he can't play in Europe because, for all the points that you've rightly called out, he is, let's be honest, going to be a safe pair of hands. And he is one of these guys that, see when we go play wee shitey teams outside the old firm and probably Hibs and Aberdeen, they'll stand off him. They'll pay him probably too much respect. I think I'd like to think he'd be able to do a turn for us if I'm honest. But just keeping him to league only business, I think in the long term, I think it'll probably work out well for us. So pleased to. I'm not going to say that I'm absolutely delighted with it, but I'm certainly not disappointed because, as I say, safe pair of hands, he'll do a shift.
Aye. Obviously, the fucking big news of the week was obviously the death of the Queen. We've had games cancelled domestically, and probably will have our next round of fixtures cancelled as well, I would imagine. I think they've announced today that the state funeral will be on the 19th of September, so probably looking at these games maybe have to get squeezed in after the World Cup, because obviously we have a World Cup coming up as well. To be honest with you, I think it's a well needed break, if I'm being honest with you. But anyway, you look at the stats now, we've got like 1 win in 7 or something like that. We've had 4 wins in 16 or something since the Scottish Cup semi-final v Hibs. In domestic, up until Kilmarnock and Livingston, we've actually been okay. You expect to lose to Celtic away from home. A draw at Easter Road isn't always the worst. It's a derby and it can happen, as we've seen with the equaliser. And we've done the business at home with the teams that we've played. But it does feel like we've been on a bit of a downward spiral since sort of the Grant sending off against Zurich. It's kind of went to shit. So a welcomed break for me. Anybody any different to that?
No, not at all. Definitely welcome.
I think the timing about things as well allows hopefully a bit more time to get some of these injuries back in, especially Halkett. And who knows what the fuck's going on with this German boy that you just spoke about earlier, but hopefully it gives him time to get back into the whatever his permit sorted. So
do we have any movement on that? Do we know? Is he
no words about it? No.
No, it's just typical British government just fucking being an absolute shit show. It'll be sat on top of a filing cabinet because somebody fucking put it there, and it'll be gathered in dust. It's one of these things. It's just red tape in it. I love red tape in this country.
The name's that long it'll look like a roll of wallpaper. I'll probably just fucking set it to one side thinking somebody's doing up the office. Shanks, what are you thinking for the break? Happy? Couldn't give a fuck? What are you thinking?
I think it's what we needed. I mean, if we'd have come off that and done really well the other night, you could say that it would have killed a bit of momentum, but the boys just look knackered. You've seen that the other night. It wasn't even just a size thing. They just all just look scunnered. So happy with the break, to be honest, and happy not to fucking think about Hearts for 24 hours. Yeah. And then now here I am.
And now here we are, back again. You're right. So hopefully there are murmurs that Halkett could potentially be back for Thursday. Did they put in a plastic pitch?
I don't think so. They do at their own stadium, but not at this.
Oh, right, okay.
Stadium where the game's getting played.
Right, okay. So it's a total noticeable difference. Goals conceded, clean sheets, etc. The difference in Hearts when Halkett plays and versus when he doesn't. It's totally noticeable. Thursday, case in point, some of our best players having to play at the back, getting the run around. Big 77 up front for them was immense. But we played right into his hands, and we'll talk about it when we come into talking about the game or whatever. But the sort of square peg round hole bit that we've got going on at the back right now will definitely benefit from having Halkett back.
I think there's
Yes.
I think there's a lack of maybe. I'm not saying that Kingsley's not the one, but I think there's also a lack of like leadership in the back four when Halkett's not there. I think the fact that Halkett maybe organises the back four when he's playing, he's also, and I'm no disrespect to the boy Nielsen because I think he's done it a couple of times pretty well, is the fact that Halkett can sometimes also make that burst forward. He can take that sort of stride away from a player and actually see a pass. I think it was the Dun United game. He took out like two players just with one single pass, and from that point of view, I think that was the first goal we scored after 47 seconds or whatever. So I think there's not just the fact of Halkett not being in the team and not being in that back four, it's just that element of him actually being able to actually control everything and keep everybody else in sync and keeping them as a straight back four or whatever the case may be, keeping them in position, because there was too many times on Thursday night that we just got pulled out of position and out of shape altogether.
And that's a byproduct of the old square peg round hole stuff, right? Because when you got a centre back that's played centre back his whole life, he knows the tricks of the trade. He will have come up against players that have had the beating of him, stronger than him, faster than him, but you know the bits, get a yard in front of him, stand on his toes, when to pull him, when to engage, when to no. We just lacked street smart on Thursday, and so many occasions you were watching Kingsley or Smith, for example, run 30, 40 yards out of position to follow 77, and they failed to make contact. You know, so they've done what they're supposed to do, which was track the man, make sure the big guy doesn't get on the ball, but they've went all that way and they've not made contact. The big guys just bounced off them, chucked them a bit like an empty tracksuit, and then played the ball into the space where they were. And so many times, that's where they got in. That's where they got in with people being out of position. That's why Peter Haring was constantly dropping back into the back four or three. It's why there was one point in the first half, Cammy Devlin was literally playing centre back, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" He's about 3 foot tall.
Ridiculous that.
It was crazy, but it will be good to get some players back. I also think Craig Gordon is really missing having someone like Craig Halkett in front of him, because Craig Gordon, as we talked about last week, same again this week, he made some unbelievable saves on Thursday, and if it wasn't for Craig Gordon, it could have got pretty dicey in terms of scoreline. But that when to come, when not to come, Craig Gordon should have came for the corner. Like, do you know what I mean? It's a diving header inside the 6-yard box, which is absolutely bananas to think how's it got there. But he just seems to lack that reassurance when Craig Halkett or a John Souttar, for example, wasn't there. Somebody that he knows the game, etc. In terms of Riga, that was a pure shambles on it, trying to buy tickets. It was. So we obviously spoke to the club about it just to try, and because there was anger and noise building on social media because of just how crazy it had been. So obviously the loyalty points are in place because of this exact reason. Do you know what I mean? Like, you reward the people that travel the length and breadth of the country, that go to European games, etc. You make sure that they get the tickets because they're the ones that support the club. But what I think happened was we got initially 5% of their stadium. Then Hearts fans started to buy tickets in the home end, where they can make all the money that they want. You know, they keep the money for those tickets, etc., etc. So we're kind of like, well, fuck it. Like, here's your 5. You're only getting this 5%. We're going to sell the rest that we have, and then obviously I think we 150 loyalty points, then 120, then 90, then straight down to 20, and then it sold it. So it was a bit of a shambles, but it looks like everybody that wants a ticket or needed a ticket has now got a ticket. And if you don't, we've got about 150 spares. So Shanks, you're going to set up a Just Giving page or something. We'll start selling these tickets.
Aye, pint a ticket. Just sort me out in the square. I'll be in the square. I don't care which square. I'll probably only be one. I'll be there. I'll have tickets.
Aye. So it will be good. But again, it's those things. It's making me laugh thinking about how bad it's going to be to try to get tickets for Florence, considering how mental this has been. So good luck everybody that's having to dive through that.
Can't wait, man.
Could be some laugh, like, innit?
How many texts will I receive from Crookie between Riga and Florence? Do you know?
Oh, mate.
I've already made an ass of the train tickets, so then he talked to me about fucking match day tickets. I'm not going to do that.
Once, well, I'm passing Shanks on to you after Riga. That's it. I'm tagging
She
it.
done.
That's
Like
me
a
done my
fucking hot
community
potato.
service. I have done my community service with Shanks. Someone else's turn, man. Anything else? That's pretty much it for headlines. And we missed anything?
All good.
Oh, good. Now we get to dive into the nice, joyous stuff, don't we? Thursday night, first European group stage football at Tynecastle ever, I think, wasn't it? Because we played all the group games the last time at Murrayfield.
Yep.
I must say that Tynecastle looks amazing. Pitch looks brilliant. Disco lights are class. Big screens, brilliant. That's about it, innit? That's about it.
What a podcast this has been.
Aye,
Seriously.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week. That was, I don't know, where do we go from here? Obviously, pre-game, seen the team instantly. Oh no, Andy Halliday's playing in the front three, playing free at the back. I was like, all right, what? No idea why. But anybody have any different thoughts pre-game?
I think this particular game was the one I worried about most. If I'm being truthfully honest, you've got to remember this team only won the Turkish League a couple of years ago. Yes, okay, they've had players move, in and out, but they've also went and spent heavily in regards to transfer market. So I was more worried about this game than I am about the other two. But given the way we played on Thursday night, I might actually just need to worry about them all.
Sunday, Kev, don't worry.
Exactly. So no, I was more worried about that, and I just couldn't quite work out how on earth we came out with a team that we actually started with, if I'm being honest,
Aye.
or at least the shape.
There seems to be a bit of arguing back and forth on Twitter as to what the actual shape
Mainly
was.
Mainly from you.
Yeah. Well, it's because I watch football and can see with my own eyes as to what's happening. When we absolutely started the match with three at the back: Smith, Cochrane, and Kingsley. Barry Mackay and Atkinson playing on the wings. Devlin and Haring in the middle. Forrest, Shankland, and Andy Halliday as front three. That, after about 5 to 10 minutes, instantly changed to our usual 4-2-3-1 as they settled quicker than we did. We've said this a million times before, right? This isn't new news. But in every big game that we've played, probably other than the semi-final versus Hibs, we always start the game way too slow. Always. We're always, and if you listen to the way Robbie talks, it's the game plan. Right? He talks about win your first contact, win your first battle, settle into the game, then go put your game onto them type stuff, if you know what I mean. And that's fine when you're at home to Ross County or Livingston or whoever who are happy for you to have the ball. They're happy to settle, like all that sort of stuff. But when you're playing good opposition, if you look at where we've got all of our good results, we've started high intensity, right at them, right for the front. If you look back only, 3 weeks ago to the Zurich game, it's exactly how we started against Zurich. So it was pretty disappointing to see everything was flat, Shanks, like everything. Like the atmosphere, it was 5 o'clock at night, we're playing a massive European game. Pub was half-hearted, barely anybody there. Stadium, barely any singing. It just felt flat, didn't it?
Felt like friendly. Aye, totally. Boys, I get everyone was at work in that, but there were still boys coming in kind of 5-10 minutes late. It just felt miserable. As you said, started slow. I did think we kind of like came into it though. Obviously we had the chance, and was it a goal? Was it not a goal? But it just felt that they were a bit negative for the start. Everybody just felt a bit kind of maybe the gravitas of the game just got to them a wee bit. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Did you think they felt like they were like?
Is that not the capital
Scared of the
of
opposition?
Turkey?
Gravitas. Is that that's what it is. I don't know. I couldn't tell if boys just couldn't be asked, or if they were just a bit nervous or overwhelmed.
Boyce
just
wasn't
felt
playing.
like everybody was just. Aye, Boyce would have made the difference, Sam. I was thinking that.
I agree. It was a bit. It was a bit. It was. And it wasn't a bit. It was totally and utterly subdued. Ando, it's. Are we doing ourselves a disservice? Are we like? Am I too demanding in terms of? I listened to and we talked about it last week, and I'm not going to continue to talk about it because it's not the fucking Hail Hail podcast. But Ange Postecoglou was true to his word. Celtic for 40 minutes at least absolutely took the game to Real Madrid. They played exactly the way they play against every other team, high intensity, passing in their faces, running themselves into the ground. In Real Madrid, the 14 times champions of Europe or whatever the hell it is, their quality in the end just shone through. But there was no disgrace in their 3-0. They absolutely gave everything they have. It was almost the polar opposite from us on Thursday, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. If you made a good point just a minute ago when you're saying that all of our good performances or good results recently, and if even say recently, you can go back to the game where we beat Celtic 4-0 at Tynecastle, right? That was one of those ones out the traps, right in their faces. Don't give them any time on the ball, high press, all that sort of stuff, right? And we obviously the star of the show that day. It's frustrating because it's just passive. It's like I get that everybody loves a European night and we all want a result because of the money that it means and all that sort of stuff. But primarily the reason we go to football is to watch entertainment on the park. It's an entertainment industry, and I fucking hate the fact that I've just said that phrase, but it is exactly that. I would rather they went out and absolutely killed themselves. And you know what? We got beat 8-0, but we were right in their faces rather than being passive, standing off them and getting fucking bullied for 90 minutes. Because that's essentially what happened on Thursday. It's not nice to watch them, and he needs to change that. It needs to be aggressive, straight out straight out the traps, in their face, and just fucking go for it. If you get beat, you get beat. Fine. No one's going to criticize you if you actually give it a go.
Aye. And Kev, that's the thing that there's always a difference. It sounds stupid and cliche to say, but there's a way to get beat, right? And Thursday wasn't it. You know what I mean? If we'd, like Ando just said there, if we'd absolutely run ourselves into the ground, played out our skin, almost like Zurich, right? The Zurich game at Tynecastle, that was a kick in the teeth, right? That was gutting, and it was double gutting because we played amazing until the red card, right? But after the red card to the end of the game, that was the result that was fair because they managed the game well. They took their chance. They just seen out the game. Their professionalism kicked in. But on Thursday, we just lacked all of that. And you know what was really more annoying, Kev, is that see when we actually did get the ball down and play, we created loads of chances.
We did. There was a about a 10-minute spell where we were shutting down the space. We were winning the 50-50s. Even sometimes we were actually getting the second ball. We were getting a couple of flick-ons. There was a couple of times as well that we had chances, but whether you want to class it as good defending from the Turks or whether you just say it was just a lack of I'm going to say firepower, but that sort of instinctive sort of reaction for Shankland and others that sort of just let us down. There was one you could see Shankland was ready to wind up and take a shot for 20 for 25 yards out, but the boy just got his toe in on it and took the ball away. But that's the frustrating thing. Like Ando said, like a number of us have said, is the fact that during those 5-10 minute spells where we did actually get in their face, we asked questions of them, and a lot of times the question wasn't even answered by them, and we were getting somewhere. But then it's like the intent. Oh, we've done that for the last 5-10 minutes. We're getting into it. Let's no. Why? What's this whole take a step back again? Let's keep it going. And it could come down to fitness. I don't know.
Well, there was two things you said there that's right, and two of the things. One of the things highlighted the difference in quality. Right, you've just said they're right. They're 22 games unbeaten. Wage bill astronomical. They've won titles. They've got an unbelievable record in Europe as well. Their first goal, one touch, bang, that was it. Unbelievable. Andy Halliday running one-on-one with the goalkeeper, one touch, two touch, three touch. His body language, his signposting, I'm hitting this with the inside of my left foot. I'm going to put it in that bottom corner. And he was telegraphed for the minute he started charging down, and the boy just took it off his toe. Shanklin, free. We had Forrest one side, Halliday the other, running down the middle. And again, it was 1 touch, 2 touch, winding up. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to shoot. Oh, it's been taken off me. It was like slide in Forrest, he was clean through. Slide in Halliday, he was clean through. That final third, that decision making against big teams and in big games like that, it's been missing, and it was missing in the Scottish Cup final. It's been missing all season long in terms of just that last little bit. Pretty good middle to third, and then that last decision. And I thought that was really highlighted on Thursday was the difference. The second thing that annoyed me on Thursday is exactly right what you just said, Kev, was we, for 5 or 10 minutes, created chances, got a corner, a half chance, the Haring header, all that sort of stuff. And then we stopped and we let them take a short goal kick, pass it about. We took 10 yards, stepped off, and then we just let them have the ball again. Now, the counter argument would be, well, that was their class, that was them showing what you're doing. But I'd counter that by saying, well, actually, the 5 minutes of play before that, when we were aggressive, we were in our faces, Tam, that's where we were causing them bother. So why we took 10 yards off and just let them take the sting out of the game?
I think it comes down to that. We showed them too much respect. They've clearly been told to let them play the ball. We'll catch them on the break, and I think that was the plan for the get-go. And having that sort of step off them was the thing. But then to counter that, you see me Haring at the edge of the box, no getting rid of the ball quick enough, and which led to their goal. You seen it with other things like that. There was just sloppy mistakes in there. And if we just got up and at them, let them have the sloppy mistakes.
Shanks, one of the things there that Tam's just mentioned is something that's it's been annoying me for a while, and it's everything when we're at our worst. This is what just magnifies it even more. Is how deliberate we are in everything we do. Every pass is signposted. You know exactly who it's gone to, where it's gone. And Peter Haring as well there. How many times on Thursday did we win the ball back, whether it be in the box or in a dangerous part of our part of the park, and we tried to play passes, or we tried to do a rondo, or we tried to do a Cruyff turn, or whatever. It was so frustrating, wasn't it?
Aye, there was just nothing fluid about it. It was like fucking watching Neil McFarlane. He just looked injured for the start, didn't he?
He was a fucking hero. Neil McFarlane was a hero. I'll not take Neil McFarlane slander on this
never
podcast.
played the ball forward in any game he never played in. Sorry.
Apart from when he set up Robbie and we scored on Bal, but aye, that's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah,
but aye, no, you're right. Peter Haring, we all love Peter Haring, right? We all do. And he's just, whatever it is, he's not started the season very well. It'd be unfair to single him out because loads of players have started the season pretty poorly. But in games like that, it's almost yin and yang, right? Cammy Devlin was superb on Thursday, right? Hearts' best player. He was everywhere, won every tackle, tried to move the ball forward. He was up and down. He was brilliant. And then for every bit that he was tenacious, you've got Peter Haring that just slowed the play down, always sideways, always back Ando. It's getting frustrating, isn't it? We're hoping this German guy is going to be somebody that can take us 10, 15 yards up the park.
Yeah. I think, as you said, especially in that position, we need to be more progressive, especially against European opposition. I mean, that kind of take the sting out it, play it backwards, sideways, whatever. That's fine against wee diddy teams that you play against in the Premiership. That's absolutely fine. We'll get away with that. But you're not going to get away with that against top flight European opposition. And I'll be honest, right? Kev was talking about Istanbul being one of the dangerous games. I'm terrified that when Fiorentina come to Tynecastle, because if we play like that against them, it will be a fucking cricket score. For exactly what you're saying, you need to be aggressive with them. And it's again not to talk about the Fiorentina game too much, but you need to be up and at them. And you need to be in their face. You cannot play the sideways ball or the back pass all time. I know there's the whole point that you can't lose a goal when you hold the ball, but equally, if you keep playing like that against a well-drilled opposition, you're never going to get anything out of them at all.
Aye, you're right. And Tam, another really frustrating part of the game on Thursday was a really frustrating part of the game on Saturday versus Livingston. Craig Gordon had the 7 most touches and most passes in the Hearts team. Every single thing we do goes backwards. Every throw-in, backwards. Every touch. We talked about this before last year, where guys like what we liked about George Grant was his touch took him facing forward. Do you know what I mean? Whereas every single one, especially when you look, we've got with 4 fullbacks playing along the back 4 at one point. You've got 2 sitting defensive midfielders. What needs to change to get us going forward? Because we can't keep going back.
That's a big question. I don't even know what needs to change. I think it's this thing that just in modern football where it's all about possession stats and building for the back and sort of as long as we keep the ball, they've not got the ball type thing. And that's what's been instilled into them, I would imagine. But you see it all the time. The front three are making runs, they're in positions, and they just never get the ball quick enough. So when they do get the ball, they don't have the same amount of space that they can actually like make a difference. So I honestly don't know what the difference is to make a change, but I'm sure the coaching staff will be asking the same question, but I have no idea. Yeah.
Well, Pep Guardiola talks about it all the time. Passing for the sake of passing. He always talks about tiki-taka football, etc. And he's like, the biggest thing I hate him the most about it is that folk think that we just pass for the sake of passing it. Your passing stats look great, keep the box out, but to pass has to be with purpose. So Kev, is it a lack of movement in front, or is it a lack of, like you said, the lack of having someone like a Halkett or a Suter or even Lewis Nielsen, who's done it a couple of times, someone that can break the lines, somebody that's no afraid to step out, go make an adventurous pass, go make an adventurous run. Is that what we're missing?
I think it could be a combination of all 3, to be honest with you. I know I said it last week. There was a couple of occasions in the Livy game where GMS, for example, makes the pass inside to Barry Mackay, but then stops. Doesn't make a forward run after that. And there's an awful lot. I mean, I've just singled out GMS on that one occasion because he is usually the culprit in regards to not making an additional run. But it seems to be on a lot of occasions we're not doing that. We always rely on Barry Mackay. If you take Barry Mackay then out the pot, if the other team go, do you know what, let's just man mark him out of the game, we seem to struggle. And it is a lot of time because when you do see Barry Mackay being effective, it's because he makes that little short pass inside and then makes another run. Cochrane does it. I mean, I will say Cochrane a lot of times does make that overlap and run, but he's doing it on one side. There's nobody doing it on the other, and there's just a lack of movement. There's a lack of making the second run. There's a lack of element in regards to the guys pulling away from defenders. They'll not actually make any purposeful run. It's just like a little jog.
On that, right? Sorry, cut you off, Kev. It's like see with that, right? Do we think that it's not going to come down to personnel, right? In the sense that, right, they're just they're too fucking lazy. Although you could probably say that GMS, is a bit lazy, and we know that. But that ultimately all comes down to team orders, right? So they're not going to do that because they've been told not to do that. And this all, again, probably dovetails into something that Corbett's probably about to speak about at some stage tonight, which is that sits with Nielsen, is that it's just not progressive enough when it needs to be. I don't think you can fault the individual players. They're just doing what they're told.
Well, I agree to a certain extent, and normally I would fucking jump at the chance to kick Nielsen in the teeth, but
that was your in, man. I gave you the opportunity.
We haven't changed the way we play football, right? That whole, you go back to 2016 with Robbie in the Championship, etc. The difference is that we don't seem athletic enough in terms of we look really leggy. They looked like they could have played another 90 minutes, no bother at all at that intensity. We looked blown at our arse after 60 minutes. Now, fair enough, we were probably at points where we'd been chasing shadows. But again, the whole tactic is that you don't give the ball away, right? So if they didn't have the ball, they can't hurt you. But when we have the ball and it only ever goes between the goalkeeper, the back four, your two DMs, and then back to the goalkeeper, they couldn't give a fuck if we've got the ball because it's brilliant. No scoring against us, and that's where I think we really, 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 really miss the impact of Barry Mackay, because I'm not going to say he was anonymous on Thursday. He wasn't. He was getting on the ball. He was trying, but he was having to do everything by himself. Not only was he having to try and beat his man, skin his man, find that through ball, make a great pass or whatever, he was having to carry the team. He was having to get the team 10, 15 yards further up the park. And it was a losing battle because, and this is one that we're going to have to talk about here, we mentioned them before, Nathaniel Atkinson. I'm not going to say shite, right? Because that's a shame. But he needs to wise up very, very, very quickly, because he defensively, I said it on Twitter, he's either naive or he's negligent. It's one or the other, because he gets brushed off the ball so easily. It's a joke. He can never time the ball either. The amount of times I watch him go for the ball and it bounces over his head or whatever, that you think Aberdeen last year at Tynecastle, he tried to do a Jose Concalves and shepherd the ball out, and I'm sure it was in the passage of plays that run ups to them, leading up to them getting the penalty. We had the same mentalness against Celtic, where he cuts inside and gives them the ball and they score. And on loads of occasions on Thursday, they targeted him. They went down his side because he just miles off it. Harsh, or anybody want to jump to his defence?
I think you've nailed it there, if I'm honest.
The same.
Good. Well, there we go. Right. Well, my last gripe, obviously, we just said there, Peter Haring's header. It was never in. It never didn't look in. Didn't look in at the game either. It was very frustrating. I don't know if it's harsh to say that he actually probably should score anyway.
Yep.
I don't know what he's doing. But what really worried me, Shanks, right? And this is what we say before, right? We're playing in Europe. It's the big boy table, etc. It's fine. You're going to get your pants scalped. You're going to get your arse scalped. It's what happens, right? We get scudded 3-0 by Feyenoord. We get beat at home by Schalke. We've been battered by Bordeaux, battered off Tottenham. These things happen, right? But what really, really, really annoyed me on Thursday was the total and utter capitulation after the second goal. That wasn't acceptable.
Aye, it just felt like we just gave up. It was just a defeatist attitude. Even the way we carried ourselves on the pitch. We've talked about the size difference, but the boys just looked shit for the start, and there was no coming back for that. You could feel it in the fan base as well. Everybody just wanted the game to end, including the players.
Again, like Tam, that third goal is one of the most embarrassing Hearts goals I've ever seen. That guy was like me, got to play 5-a-sides with Ayla and our pals. He just battered and ran through every single person there like they weren't even there. It was embarrassing.
I don't even know how to describe it. Watching it back, I still don't even understand how nobody has either just kicked him or put a fit in or just got in the way, essentially. I don't know what happened. It's just embarrassing, as you say.
Did both their last two goals, did they take deflections and go past Gordon?
Yeah, the fourth one definitely did.
One of them was Kingsley.
I can't remember. I was that angry at the third goal still that it was just that number 77 and number 9. They just number 9 at one point skinned about 4 Hearts players and then went back to do it again. I was like, fuck's sake, man. He was literally just running rings around us. We couldn't get near him. But Kev, like, there's a way to get beat. We've talked about it before, right? And at this level, you could get a scudding, right? But the heads went totally and utterly down after the second, and it was embarrassing.
It was men against boys. That's, we know that was the case. After losing the first, it's a great ping. The guys hit it brilliantly. There was an element of, okay, we could still get, we get one goal, we're back in the game kind of idea. They had that kind of attitude, and there was another couple of chances that we had after they scored. You're right, after they scored the second, it was like, you know what, we're not scoring 2 goals against this team. And everybody's confidence just went straight out the game. I like what Shanks just said there. The players felt just like the fans did, and that they wanted the game to be finished so that they could get home. And it was like that. It was disappointing to see. And what was also disappointing to see was that, and I can understand why, but the best player in the park actually got taken off. And the quality of who then came on to replace him just wasn't at the same. He wasn't, his tenacity wasn't there. He just wasn't closing down. And we can make excuses, whatever. It gave the guy an experience of actually playing European football. So, that gives him that. But it was just disappointing to see.
One positive I would say is I thought Humphreys, when he came on, played pretty well. Put himself about, ran himself into the ground, which was pretty good to see. But Ando, again, the worry is that this guy's now played 2 games for Hearts. 60 minutes he played up front by himself in a plastic pitch where we just launched long balls to him, and he's played 30 minutes in Europe playing as a left winger. Any confidence that guy had, any chance that boy had, it's out the fucking window now, isn't it? There's he can genuinely, you call me Corbett, being a typical Corbett here if you want, he can pack his bag the night, shake Robbie Nielsen's hands and go back to Wigan. He will not score for Hearts. He will never turn the fans on his favour. He's ruined. We've ruined him in 90 minutes of football over 2 games.
So I will say I would agree with you wholeheartedly and say you've made a Corbett of that, but I think a part of me does agree with you. Yeah, I think we've seen it happen before, but I think what he needs, and it's not going to be lost on anyone, the fact that he came into 2 difficult games. We always struggle at Livy away. Like, let's be honest, we do. It's a horrendous place to go. We never fare well there, and you're getting thrown into the cauldron that is European football, and that's half the reason why he came. Probably half the reason why he came to the club in the first place was the lure of European football. But I think I don't know. I think he can still turn it around, but what he needs to do is he needs to really, really deliver some big performances in the domestic campaign. So obviously we may or may not be playing against Motherwell. Entirely unlikely that we will. His next game is going to be a home match against Rangers, and that could equally be a scudding. Just the way we're going, it's like we don't see a way out of it just now. I think what he needs is some game time against some lower league opposition to build his confidence, and we're not going to have any of that for the foreseeable. So yes, I do tend to agree with you that we might have ruined him, but I think if he does get an opportunity, there's a new word, opportunity to turn it around.
Oh.
I'm going to start using that at work. I like that. To maybe turn it around against lower league opposition, then I think he can still save it. But yeah, the deck is heavily stacked against him. So yeah, I do tend to agree with you.
And that wasn't a criticism of him. He's done nothing wrong. That's just the way we've played him. We've chucked him under the bus in 2 games, and I just didn't see how he reacts to that. Shanks.
Ready for this? So,
Oh,
how he reacts to that is a 4-4-2 on Thursday night.
Right.
Up there with Shankland. And he's going to score a brace. That's what's going to happen.
Is that way? So your prediction is that we're going to change to 4-4-2?
We're going 4-4-2 Thursday night. Atkinson's, he's staying in the house. Halkett's back. We're gonna play safe with Smith. Grant's back. Haring's having a wee rest. We're going 4-4-2. Humphreys brace.
That's fine. We'll get that when we come to the predictions. Kev, the other person that we're sucking the life out of is Shankland. The service that we're trying to get to him is just a joke. We're treating him like he's Ellis Sims, launching long balls at him and hoping that he can do something.
Correct. And we've spoken about this before. Lawrence Shankland is a box striker. That's where we've seen him be at his best. goal against Dundee United, the strike he had against Stoke, even in the pre-season games. He's a box striker, and to just launch balls at him or get him to run out wide and collect balls is not the way to play Lawrence Shankland. It's a shame to see, and I hope that Shanks is right. I'm going to say that. I hope Shanks is right, and that we can get a better relationship, a better connection between whether it be Humphreys and Shankland, or whether it be whoever else in Shankland up front, so that the two of them can work together. Because at the moment, again, maybe that's come back to his indecision of making, of having a strike on goal. Who knows?
Right, let's depress ourselves even more. Let's stop talking about Thursday and look forward to the pumping that we're going to get this Thursday. So, Riga, anybody know anything about them? Other than that they got a point more than we'll get in Italy?
That's some result, by the way, isn't it? Just when you think
that
we might beat them, you look at the other result and you're like, oh, fuck. There you go.
Fiorentina haven't won in like 12 games, have they?
Thanks, Kev. Fuck's sake.
Neither had Levy.
Aye, neither had Levy. Neither had fucking... Aye, exactly. Fuck's sake.
They got beat again tonight. Kev, you're right.
They did. They got beat 2-1 off Bologna. I haven't went a goal up. And then they got beaten. Rubbish. So, Shanks, since you started the ball rolling, talk to us about Thursday. Sticking with it? Give your team, give your prediction.
Well, I've said it. I've got two written down, but I'll need to go with the one that I've just said. So, Gordon, back four for me, Smith, Halkett, Kingsley, Cochrane, Devlin and Grant in there. But then Grant wasn't even on the bench the other night, eh? So that was a wee
Suspended.
bit...
He was suspended.
Suspended, wasn't
Oh, was he suspended? Oh, fuck. Right, okay. And then...
You're not mind
sent
that
off
after
against
Forrest.
Zurich, buddy.
Forrest, Mackay, Humphreys and Shankland. That's me. Prediction, what I said, Humphreys is going to score a brace. 3-1 Hearts.
Nice.
I think
Kev,
it'll be class.
Kev, what are you thinking in terms of shape? How do you see players coming back? Do you see us changing shape? What's your thoughts?
I'm so lost at this moment in time, if I'm being truthfully honest, as to how we'll play on Thursday night. Does he look at the past few performances and go, I need to change it altogether and go with a 4-4-2? Does he go back to his usual of, a 4 at the back, then 2, then a 3 and a 1, or it's just, there's so many possibilities. I'd like to see Grant come back, because I think there's a lot of times that Grant actually wants to take the ball where he's actually looking at the opposition goal, rather than, as we have seen with a lot of the midfield, they're always taking the ball with their back to the opposition goal. I'm going to be positive and say 2-1 for Hearts.
Nice. Tam?
I think we'll go 4-2-3-1. Grant in the 10. I think Harron and Devlin will play regardless as well. Hopefully Halkett's back. I think it'll be 1-1. There you go.
Ando?
It'll be a nice, comfortable 2-0 victory for RFS Riga.
What's your team?
Sorry, I didn't even have a chance to think about that. I don't see, barring the injury situation improving between now and Thursday, which I very much doubt, then I can see almost a carbon copy of what you've seen last week.
Aye, that's my worry too. We'll get a left field thing, like Toby Sibbett coming in. We'll get Andy Halliday playing left back this week. There'll be something tactical that Robbie's seen that he wants. He won't play the strongest 11 available. He won't play them in their strongest positions, I don't think. I think we'll be guarded over there because, again, he'll not want pumped. He'll not want to have that noise. So I think we'll play 4-2-3-1. Gordon, Smith at right back, Sibic or Nielsen alongside Kingsley. Cochrane will play left back. I think we'll have Haring and Devlin, Grant, Forrest, Mackay, and then Shankland. Would be my team. But you could potentially take Grant out and put Halliday in there. Fuck it, I wouldn't even be surprised if Gary Mackay-Steven played instead of Forrest. Something like that.
Fuck,
Someday
can't see
it'll be
that.
tactical. And it'll be
I thought
two.
Harvey played alright the other night. I thought he did well.
I thought he did what he was asked today. And like I said, in terms of effort and what he does, I absolutely don't think it's his
Certainly.
position. Don't think he impacted the game. But then, how could he have? Didn't have anything to work on. He was asked to pick up his man and try and break the line so that they couldn't step out, etc., which he was all right at doing, but he kind of did it all by himself. So I think it'll be 2-1 to Riga on Thursday. Here we go. There's my cheery predictions. Am I thinking of that as I've said that Hearts will win? We said that Hearts would beat Kelly comfortably, would beat Livingston comfortably, and I thought we would get a draw with the team for Istanbul. So I'm changing my tactics and Hearts will get beat. So if we win, then you can thank me for it.
Love
Right.
the logic.
Well, there we go. That was fucking joyful, wasn't it? That was superb.
So-
I've missed doing that. It felt like a while since we've been able to dissect Hearts in such a negative manner. It was brilliant.
We
Right.
should change the name of this podcast to Group Therapy because
I mean,
that's what it
yeah,
fucking
that
feels like.
feels like it.
That's the
is at
show name, like therapy.
Aye. Shanks is at the bottom of the barrel because he got roasted off a 15-year-old Hibs fan on Twitter today. So he needs
Amazing.
extra support for the boys he's a day like. Right, Kev gives the answer to your 4-1.
No worries. So the first set of clues tonight was football family, Venky's final game, and painter. Tam, do you want to have a shot at it? Always
Ian
go you
Black.
first. Well done, mate. There you go. Ian Black, football family, as in his dad played for Hearts. Venky's because he started his career at Blackburn. His final game was the final, and of course, when things weren't going his way or the club's way with regards to wages, he went out and actually done a proper job. The second one was African, was injured, controversy, and drunk da. And Shanks, you've got your hand up, so I'm going to come to you, Shanks.
I'll go Oshinua because he was controversially fucking shite when he was meant to be good.
I mean, you're accurate. You're definitely accurate with that part. He was also African, mate.
Point.
So you've got
Hey,
two.
point.
But
What
it's
is
not
that?
the
Was
right
it
answer.
wank?
Ando, you want a shot at the second one?
No.
I'm going to go to Tam, see if Tam can get 2 out of 2.
Honestly, don't know, mate.
All right, we'll give it
Yeah.
to Corbett because Corbett's sitting there, got a wee bit smug, grin in his face.
He always
Mate.
does, man. It's his look. It's his default face.
Say it again.
So African,
Yep.
injured, controversy, and drunk da.
Larry Kingston.
Larry Kingston, correct. Who was African, always injured, had a little bit of controversy, and his old man, when he got pissed, couldn't spell his brother's surname right.
Oh, that's right.
The
yeah,
controversy
birth
for the
certificate
people in
thing.
listener land that forgot, he called the referee a racist, and the referee just happened to have a black wife. So absolutely superb. It was a
He's done well.
beautiful Hearts moment. So aye, there we go. Right,
Class.
Perfect, guys.
Shanks, I will see you on Wednesday in Manchester, and Kev, I'll see you in Manchester. Everybody else will see you in Riga. For anybody that's not gone, see you at the Shandon. Where we could ruin your first.
And
I'll
we'll
see
see
all
you
in
sometime.
hell.
Aye, we'll see you somewhere.
Shut up, man. Fuck off.
Right,
When your internet
boys.
gets back working.
See you all later.
See you, mate.
Cheers.
Gorgie out.